Good morning. So it is morning here. I'm not sure if it's morning where you are, but it is morning here. So I'm going to take half of my Danish dough that I made, and I'm going to make some cinnamon rolls this morning. So this is the dough that I made on Wednesday. It's now Friday here. This actually went longer than I wanted it to because I got caught up in meetings yesterday and couldn't get to it. So it's been sitting in the fridge for 2 days since I made it. So let's come up. Got our little bit of dusting flour. A little word about dusting flour. Your dusting flour should always be the flour which is the dominant flour in whatever dough that you're working with. So if the dominant flour here is bread flour, then my dusting flour is also bread flour. So first thing I really want to do is I want to deflate it just a little bit. Push it down. Don't work it too much. Be kind of gentle with it so you're not interrupting the layers. So now it's not all distended anymore. It's more back to a regular package. So I'm not going to do this whole dough in cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to cut it in half. This is a good chance for us to look at the layers, although since it's proofed up, it's really hard to distinguish the layers anymore. So I'm going to take this part of it here. I saved my plastic wrap. I will rewrap this one. And it'll go back in the fridge, and we're going to do a few different things with this dough. Let me see this right here. We'll make some stars and do some stuffed filled ones with this. All right. So the goal here is we're going to take this and we're going to roll it out into a large rectangle. Get the basic shape down first, get it nice and even. All right. So you see this dough is soft, yes, but it's not sticky. And we want to try to get this pretty close to 1/4 of an inch. There we go. I think that's about wide enough. Now I'm going to go, again, I keep moving it around to make sure it's not sticking. All right, so. That's good. It's a nice dough. It's good. It's soft. Looks good. All right. Just a little bit. Just so it doesn't stick on us. All right. That's good. So now we have it nice and even. It's a good rectangle. So, excuse me, just off a shot here, I made pastry cream yesterday. So here's my pastry cream. So what I'm going to do, the plan here is I'm going to put pastry cream on here and spread it rather thin. I'm going to leave a little edge right here where I have no pastry cream at all. So this is just a thin layer. If it gets too thick, then it's going to come squishing out. We don't want that. This is really just kind of a glue that's going to kind of hold the rest of the stuff in there and give us a little bit extra flavor. This is delicious. So this pastry cream I made, in your reader, there's pastry cream. That pastry cream uses 50-50 flour and cornstarch. It's not my favorite pastry cream, this one is. This one uses 100% cornstarch. And it sets up really nice and really stiff, and it's still delicious. You can't just substitute the amount of flour for cornstarch, because cornstarch has a different thickening capacity. So it'll get much thicker if the recipe is balanced for 2 tablespoons of flour and you use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch has twice the thickening ability, so it's going to be quite stiff, not an even exchange. So find a recipe that uses 100% cornstarch, and I've actually sent you one. I sent you this one. So this one is on canvas, this pastry cream recipe. So here's my cinnamon sugar. So this cinnamon sugar is literally 1 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of good cinnamon. That's all it is. Be generous, because this is a cinnamon roll. So it should be the dominant flavor in here. So once I get this pretty much covered like this, so my hand doesn't stick anymore, I'll just take a little bit of this right down the middle, like that. All right. And then very carefully do this. Yeah, see, you see, this is why I get some cinnamon sugar on there first. So I'm not putting my hands in all the pastry cream, but I do want good coverage. Because we want these cinnamon rolls on the ends to have just as much cinnamon as the ones in the middle, all right? All right, so now I have some raisins. So for raisins, all right, raisins. So when I started the video, I didn't have my raisins soaked, so I had to take a little interruption. So previously you saw a bag, now you see these are my prepped raisins. So raisins, it's good standard practice to soak raisins. Raisins can get very hard if they've been in your pantry for a couple of years, which they can be. They need to be soaked. So it's a little bit of hot water, just enough hot water to cover by about maybe 1/2 inch. And if you want to, you can flavor them. You can put in a little rum flavor, you can put in a little vanilla flavor, just to boost the flavor of the raisins just a little bit. So now that we have our raisins and they're ready, so the raisins are going to go right down the middle like that. And then I take them, and we really want these to be well distributed, but in one single layer. Of course, if you're not a huge raisin fan, you can go a little bit lighter on the raisins. If you like raisins, yeah, have at it. So again, I want to maintain this edge down here as best I can. That's our closing edge. All right, so we're prepped now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my rolling pin and just very gently, just kind of with the weight of the rolling pin, see, I'm pushing the raisins into the dough just a little bit, just to kind of lock them in a little bit, so that when I roll it, my raisins don't fall out. All right, so I'll put this to one side, and now I'm going to start rolling, and I roll towards me. Some people are more comfortable rolling this way. I like to roll this way. So I'm going to take my dough and I start it like this. All right. And you see, I tuck and I pull to keep things tight as I roll. I want it to be a fairly tight roll. All right, and if you have too much flour on there, and that's a little bit too much for my liking, take my brush just like that. Ooh, only lost one raisin, that's good. All right. All right, so that's pretty good. We're nice and straight. We'll do seam side down. We'll push just a little bit. All right, to keep it tight. Now, for panning. So I like to go thick. It's about an inch, inch and a half. If you go too thin, everything's going to fall out. And they're not ooh, wow, yum kind of rolls at the end. We want these to really kind of make a statement because they are quite delicious. All right, so out of one roll, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces. This is kind of a crappy little one. We'll put this over here. So for panning, you can do this a couple different ways. Just like that. And I mean right next to each other, like that. Because the theory here is, as they proof, since they're right next to each other, they will end up touching each other and they'll go up instead of out. So don't crowd them, but see these tails, you kind of want them facing somewhere, because if they open up, you want them to hit the next one and stop, open up. Otherwise, sometimes they'll open all the way up and we don't want that. All right. So I'm going to save 6. All right. So the other way to do it, and this is kind of a fun way, is my pan spray is missing. So even though this is a non-stick pan, I'm going to use just a little bit of Baker's Joy in here. Because these have a lot of sugar in them. So they can go right in here just like this. All right. So I'm going to move this guy over here like this. Tails over here. All right. So here are my two pans. Here are my two pans. We will let these proof, and then hopefully by some point this morning, it's for me, it's 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and we'll let these proof, and I'll mark the time, and I'll let you know how long they proofed, and then we'll bake them in a 350-degree oven.